G'day guys, welcome. Woo! It's Friday afternoon. As you can see, I'm on the treadmill and I'm sweating pretty badly. I cranked this little gym up to which I've got access to by myself. It's 28 degrees in here. I've got the heating on, and it feels like 38. I'm out of shape at the moment, really badly. Traditionally, I like to keep myself reasonably fit, but geez, you let yourself go when you get to my age, and I made a bit of a pact over the next few months to not necessarily watch what I eat and stuff. I'm not disciplined to do that, but what I do like to do is sort of knuckle down and really get stuck into some exercise. So I will run on weekends, and during the week I'll get on the treadmill in this sort of sauna room and get on the treadie incline and go for an hour. So yeah, and hopefully I can be around a little bit longer and for a lot longer on this channel as we strive to that end goal, which is a premiership for our football club. And I've always said that once we get there, then that could be just about it for my Blue Heavens. So, and it's crazy to think that could have been this year, but we fell short, and we have to start again. So I'm just here to wrap up sort of week 2 of trade period, although this week was the official week, where it all started in regards to official moves being made. They just spoke a lot of crap last week. This week, yeah, it's been relatively busy, particularly yesterday, Thursday, where a lot happened, and there's been a little bit happening today. And there's no doubt while I'm sort of grinding away here that bubbling away behind the scenes in trade land, there's maybe a few more deals done before closing time on Friday. But I'm not here to really talk about the overall trade and what's happening. It's more related to our footy club, and really nothing unexpected this week has happened. Paddy Dow has announced that he wants to be traded to St Kilda, which we pretty much already knew, although the Sydney Swans were apparently into him at one stage, but they've been going crazy this week. It looks like they're shut up shop now and not going to do any more trading. So Dow will get to the Sydney Swans, and that will probably happen hopefully early next week, given that it looks like the Jade Gresham deal or trade free agency is sort of it's finally gone through, although I don't think that's official yet, but maybe that gives them a little bit more time to start to talk a little bit more about what we're going to get for Paddy Dow. But I'm here to just talk a little bit about our strategy with Nick Austin and what he sort of said during the week. And Zach Fisher, he's now a Kangaroo for 4 years, and probably when you think about it, the Kangaroos are our closest neighbour. Not far from Princes Park is Arden Street, and it is kind of strange to see. I suppose, I don't know if he was much loved, although the send-off's been pretty, a little bit pukey. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing wrong wishing a guy the best of luck, and yeah, we move on. But Christ almighty, it's funny, isn't it? 107 games for the football club. He'll always be a Carlton footballer. That's in the history books now, and I know it's a lot different. I don't want to pull a loyalty card here on any one of our players, because it just doesn't work like that anymore. It's a full-time job, and these guys want to move for security and opportunities and money and all different types of reasons. But and you can send the bloke off in any way you like, but when Zach got on the socials, and I think he's away at the moment in Western Australia, and he got on and he called himself a shin boner and couldn't wait to get started, and we're excited about the opportunity. And this has been going, look, and these talks and discussions and conversations with North Melbourne have been going on for a while, and good luck to him. You know, like he's a fringe player at our club. You know, but it's just funny when you start winning games. You know, you make a prelim final and suddenly everything's like hunky-dory at the foot, which it is. I'm really comfortable with where our club's at. He's fucking enemy now. Like, Zach Fisher's enemy until his career, 4 years, whatever it is, at North Melbourne's finished. He's just fucking enemy. So, just some of the Carlton, well, a lot of Carlton supporters sort of jumped on the North Melbourne social pages and were jumping on and saying, look after him, you know, make sure you look after him, he's a good egg, and, slippery fish, you know, make sure you put your arms around him, and, oh my God, talk about patronising and condescending. I bet 100%, bit like Sam Petreski-Seaton when he left our football club a few seasons back. I can't remember any beautiful farewells, not the overwhelming beautiful farewells for Sam Petreski-Seaton when he went back to Perth. Nah, it was, look, another fucking failed sauce pickup. No good. This bloke's no good, and but geez, we just turn, don't we, really quickly when you start winning games, and everything's just sweet, you know, which is okay. And I'm probably being a little bit picky here, but from my end, he gets his name on the locker at the football club, 100 games, alongside one of the greats two of the greats, Alex Jesaulenko, number 25, and Brendan Pavola. That's good. And he's a 100-game player, and he's, you know, father and son now if he decides to have children, or father and daughter, AFLW. So, but as far as I'm concerned, he's his fucking enemy now, Zach Fisher. You know, like 2 years running on a contract, didn't want to stick it out. You know, like fuck him. You know, like I'm not. Oh, the last thing I want to do is send him off with fucking red carpet and. You know, I can't wait. In fact, I can't wait to play the Kangaroos Good Friday next year, and hope our boys really give it to him. I really do. Really give it to him. I don't know if it's in our nature to be doing that, but just from I think he's got aspirations, according to an interview he had, of playing, you know, cross half back, and he's had, you know, talks with Alistair Clarkson about a role there, and there's no doubt he shows some promise in that area of the ground, but yeah, good luck to him. I hope we fucking pull his pants down and spank his ass really hard and give him a hiding and give him heaps. I'm not saying boo him or anything, but yeah, fuck North, fuck him. You know, Cam Zerha, he's just fucking part of the enemy now. You know, he becomes like for me and Eddie Betts when he left, Henderson when he left, Waite, Grigg, SPS, fucking Tui, you know, there'll always be Carlton players, but there's just something about blokes who leave, you know, and they go somewhere else, and it doesn't sit comfortable with me. I'm a little bit old school that way, but I understand it. You know, it's a little bit different to what it was like back in the old days, yeah. So, Jack Gunston, no, it's a no from me. I know it's apparently caught Brisbane off guard, that he wants to come home. I'm pretty sure that it will be. He wants to come back to Hawthorn. You know, you have probably a pretty good relationship with Sam Mitchell, you know, teammates. He wants to come back, and there's, you know, there's no talks that we are into him, but there's a few supporters out there, like when Jack Ginnivan was, you know, Lockie Schiltz might go to Collingwood, and some of our supporters were saying, let's get, you know, Ginnivan, nah, fuck him, and I don't want Jack Gunston anyway. 32 on Monday, well past his best. He'd be handy, but I think we can do better than that. And really, I think, as much as we're probably crying out for a hybrid, I think, I think his heart's with Hawthorn, and it's a big no from me. So as far as Nick Austin and I suppose the consistency of what he's been saying over the last, 7 days or so, or even probably even longer than that, trying to get a better draft hand. It's all about, as far as the list goes, really, I think it's only Elijah Hollands. And he's a youngster, and apparently the two clubs will sit down this weekend, Gold Coast Suns and Carlton, and it feels a bit murky, that one. The reports are a little bit murky. Has he requested, actually, Carlton? I mean, his manager is saying, David Trotter is saying, his manager, that, I think it's David Trotter, it's either Gold Coast or Carlton. But then he sort of said that he hasn't requested a trade. I'm not quite sure. It just seems a little bit murky. And to me, probably, who knows? But it just seems a little bit more unlikely than likely. But in saying that, it wouldn't surprise me to see Elijah Hollands and a Carlton jumper next season, which would be great. We're getting a bloke who's 3 years into the system, and I think he's an exceptional player. I really do. I think he's got a lot of ability. But Austin, back on to Austin, he sort of said that, they want to refresh this list, and add to the depth through the draft. And I assume that's mostly through kids. The draft is for kids and the occasional more mature age recruit that you might take a bit of a punt on in the draft, maybe a 22, 23-year-old. It's happened before. But it also, to me, is just code, that refreshing the list, it's just code for we've got no fucking money. And I really like Jay Gresham, I really do. I think Jay Gresham's a really good player. But I think supporters know their players better than anyone else. And the knock on him is he's a little bit up and down with his output and his effort, but his disposal's not great. No, I've never really noticed that with Jay Gresham. I've just always noticed a really classy and an X-factor type player who would be the perfect sort of fit in our sort of front half as that high half forward. And but that just shows you don't necessarily, as an opposition supporter, unless you follow these players week in, week out, what are their real deficiencies. And the last thing we probably want is a bloke that butchers the pill, regularly butchers the pill, because we have quite a few of those. And when the reports were sort of mid-season, because he was a free agent, that we were into him or he was going to come to us, it made me genuinely excited. So I'm going to be fascinated to see how he does go at the Bombers if St Kilda don't match what Essendon have promised him, and to see what he can add to them. But to me, he feels like a classic Essendon type player, Jay Gresham. But I've always liked him, and I just feel that is the spot on the ground that I'd love to nut out a little bit more and get some more impact out of our players. And I know we've got Motlop still developing, and Durden, who's had some injury concerns. We've got Owies, who's a real workhorse, can hit the scoreboard. We lose Fisher, who had played as a high half forward. We lose Dow, who's never really played as a small forward. And do we necessarily have anyone else underneath those three smalls? I don't think so. Or that bloke that can be really damaging on the scoreboard and provide something up the ground, whether that's defensively or is that link play going inside forward 50. And I still think it's a big watch with our club, the development of our small forwards. And I know it's a bit of a hit and miss. And you don't necessarily have to go with high draft picks for those small forwards. You can get them late. Even the top Tom Packley came in the rookie draft. Fuck, I'm struggling here when they're falling over. So we've got no money. So we weren't going to be able to afford someone like Jay Gresham anyway, because there's a report he's going to be on $700,000-800,000 a year. So we haven't got that type of money to bring in anyone of a big name. So we're going to have to go with some sort of cheap cheaper options. And do we want someone now to impact? Do we think Motlop is ready to explode? I think he is, but is Durden, Corey Durden, good enough? Is Durden and the combination of Durden and Noes and Motlop, do we play all three, or can we take a risk on someone from the VFL who's already a mature player who has shown exceptional form over a period of time now, and try and get them in the draft, whether that's late in the draft or at least the rookie draft, and whether that player I'm just about to talk about, it will be available with potentially our pick 69 or 70 if we use those picks. I'm not quite sure, but we've got 21 and 25. We got those off the Kangaroos. We gave away our first round draft pick, and we're not using 21 and 25 on a VFL player. I just don't think we will. We'll go to the draft with those if we still got them, or we'll use one of those on Elijah Holland. So I love Sean Manor. And I've spoken about Sean Manor before, and a lot of you would have heard about Sean Manor and what he did in the grand final this year in the VFL for the Werribee Football Club against the Gold Coast Suns at Icon Park, where he kicked 6 goals and had 33 disposals. He's 26 years of age, which surprised me, really. He actually doesn't look that old. He's only small, and I like a lot of those smaller guys. And like some of them, we often talk about the big guys take a long time to develop, but when you're smaller, like you're overlooked. If you don't, I don't know, like if the recruiters don't project something in your game really on, and he played at the Murray Bush Rangers from Albury, made his way to Richmond in the VFL, and he's been at Werribee now for a few years, and he's just an outstanding small forward that can not necessarily roll through the midfield he will at VFL level, but he does play that role, which is really important, that exquisite ball use and speed, and can get right high up the ground and help out defensively. And I just really like him. And it wasn't just that big game in the grand final where he was best on the ground. Some of the other sort of performances he had throughout the year, like I'll just crank this up a bit more. He had games where he was getting high 30s and kicking big bags, and the word was at one stage he looked like he'd get picked up in the mid-season draft, but that wasn't to be, and he lost a bit of form, and he was being heavily tagged, really hard, and he's probably not going to get that at AFL level, although if he does come in and explode, he certainly will get close attention. But I really like him. He's got something about him, and I just hope that we're into him. I really do. I'm sure we're looking at him, but so will North Melbourne, because his coach this year, Michael Barlow, has just been recruited to the North Melbourne Football Club as their head of development, and he rates him. Michael Barlow rates I keep calling him a kid. He's not a kid. I actually met him, Sean Manor, the week of the prelim final, when we were playing in the prelim final down at Chirnside Park. I live a drop kick away, and my stupid 16-year-old son, the night before, we were down having a kick on that great ground, and as we were going back to the car along the wing at Chirnside Park near the fantastic facilities there, he unloaded on a torpedo pump which went off the side of his boot and landed on the roof of the social club, and we couldn't get it down. It was pretty much a brand new Sharon. He was devastated. I laughed actually, but I ran the club in the morning, and the young guy who answered the phone actually went up on the roof straight away and found the ball and said, "Come down and pick it up tonight. There'll be heaps down here, wherever you're training tonight." So I went down and I bumped into a few people I know, and Sean Manor had come straight from work to train, and they introduced me to him. He's a friggin' lovely young guy, and every bloke I meet who does it the hard way. Josh Corbett was another one at Werribee who got his opportunity at the Gold Coast Suns, and now Fremantle. Pretty sure Josh is still on the list, but it is terrific. Young people, hard-working, who I reckon would just fit into the AFL system really well. And I I spoke to him about the prelim final because it was going to be warm that weekend in the VFL, and they were playing on the Saturday. I can't remember who they were playing, but he was so excited. Actually, they were playing, I think they were playing the Brisbane. Yeah, they were playing Brisbane because I wanted to play against Reece Matheson and a few of the others. You know, there was a lot of AFL listed players, and he was fucking generally excited about pitting himself against those guys, you know, those AFL listed players from the Brisbane Lions. I'm pretty sure it was Brisbane Lions. I hope it was. Yeah, it was. And I watched it. I watched the replay of that prelim final, and if you think his grand final was performance, you go back and have a look at how good he was in the prelim as well, and he's performing against AFL listed players and dominating. And I would just hope that we're seriously thinking about taking this kid with one of our picks. But my concern is North have got 2, 3, 15, 17, our 17, 18, which they'll use those. They'll go to the I suppose the Coates Talent League with those picks, you would think. But I reckon they'll use 56 if they use that pick on. We're feeling they're going to use it on Sean Manor. I really do. So I hope Nick Austin has something up his sleeve. I know I was in Jimmy Rowe a few years back, guys, during COVID, and I watched Jimmy Rowe play exceptional football for Woodville West Torrens throughout that Sample final series, and I thought to myself, I really, really liked the way Jimmy went about it, and we ended up going with Corey Durden, and the Crows got Rowe, and he's been delisted since. But this Manor is, I know Rowe was a bit younger, but this Manor is, I reckon, 3 times as good. He's a fucking class act. So there you go. It's going to be an interesting second week in the trade period for our football club. Will we manipulate those picks anymore? 21, 25, 69 and 70. Do we have any intentions of bringing anyone else in, whether that's Elijah Hollins or someone else? Anyway, I'll speak soon, guys. Take care.